Hey guys! I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you guys are listening, subscribing, and commenting. I really appreciate the support. And of course, if you guys want to support me further, you can do that by going to my Patreon site. The link is in the description below. And you can give me $1 a month, $5 a month, whatever you guys prefer. In this video, I want to speak to you guys about stress. A few days ago, I don't actually know exactly when, I posted a question on the YouTube community that I have on this channel, asking people, specifically INFJs, what stresses them out and how do they deal with their stress, right? How do you deal with being stressed? What do you do with it? Usually what I do is I go into my cave, I retreat, I hide. I spend a lot of my time eating a lot of really bad for you snacks, junk food basically. I love spicy chips, so that's my go-to snack. And then reading a lot of manga. So I'll be sitting there and I could read manga for like hours on end until I feel like, okay, I'm back up to normal again, and then I can go out again into the real world. But one of the themes that I noticed in all of your comments was overstimulation. Overstimulation being one of the sources of major stress for an INFJ and for an introverted person in general, I'm guessing. For an HSP, obviously, specifically, and for empaths. So INFJs are all of those things, right? And so INFJs need a lot of time alone in our caves, etc. I've said this a billion times before, but I wanted to speak to you guys about overstimulation in this video and how there is a very good fix or a very easy fix to this that we don't actually take into account. That is, don't get to the point where you get to that point of overstimulation. Now, of course, it's easier said than done, but that is the reason why I'm always telling you guys, especially if you're younger and you're still learning about yourself as an INFJ, to watch yourself, observe yourself. You are your best model. Watch yourself, watch how things aggravate you, watch which things aggravate you or which things stress you out, watch which kind of events aggravate you or stress you out. Watch yourself all the time and figure things out, and then take notes on yourself. Observe yourself as if you're running an experiment on yourself, and you are your biggest experiment, really. Like, your life is your biggest experiment. So watch yourself, take notes, and figure out what goes on with you when you go out in public. What is good for you when you go out in public? What do you find with? Maybe sitting in a coffee shop by yourself, reading a book is fine. Maybe going to a football game where everyone's yelling and screaming and fighting with each other is not fine, right? And so obviously watch yourself. Some people might be fine with that. Some people are not. So it is your own personal observation diary that you have to create in order to learn about yourself so that you can figure out exactly what works for you and what doesn't, right? Now, I'm not saying that if you know yourself, you're never going to get overstimulated ever again. Of course not. I have been observing myself for years now, decades, and I still have moments where I get overstimulated. And actually, the funny thing for me is that I know I'm getting overstimulated. I know very well what happens at that point because I've gone through it so many times. But I know, obviously, when I do a lot of events, when I go out to meet a lot of people, I'll get up in the morning, obviously, at 6 a.m., do my meditation, do my work, and then I'll have sometimes an event in the afternoon where I meet up someone for lunch. So I'll be at lunch with someone, giving a lot of energy, talking, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll go to an event where maybe it's a yoga class or it's one of my Tantra workshops, and I'm there for 3 or 4 hours. And by the time that ends, I am just exhausted. And for me, a major sign that I'm extremely overstimulated is that I start feeling the onset of a migraine. Now, I don't really get migraines very often. It's very rare for me to get even a headache, right? But I notice that I start feeling nauseous. I literally will start feeling nauseous. And I know instantaneously that's a sign that I'm getting overstimulated because a migraine is coming. Now, if I want to stop that migraine in its tracks, I have to get home as soon as possible, to close all of the doors, windows, everything, so very little noise stimulation is present in my room. I have to switch off all the lights so it's very dark in my room. And I have to make sure I put something into my belly very quickly, so I eat something so that I have some sugar in my system so I can fight off this migraine. And I have to close my eyes and have to lay in bed or lay on my couch for at least half an hour, 45 minutes without moving, without doing anything, without thinking, without really doing any kind of stimulating work. Not even thoughts. Like, I have to really be careful not to overthink too much. And then I notice after half an hour, 45 minutes of that very specific routine or regime, that my migraine kind of dissipates. It goes away. or I know that it's coming. So I'm like, all right, no, I have to stop this in its tracks. And so it starts going away, and I start all of a sudden feeling normal again, and I stop feeling nauseous, right? Stop feeling nauseous, stop getting that headache, stop feeling all that emotion and all that aggravation and all that, right? And so that is my thing. Like I know this is coming because I have had this happen to me many times. Now this is overstimulation, like extreme overstimulation, right? Most of the time I don't let it get to this point. Most of the time I am in this mode where I've really pushed myself and I haven't been taking care of myself and I haven't eaten enough food and I haven't taken enough time for myself. So I know that for the next couple of days I have to really chill out, spend time in my room, do my own thing, and just chill out, like really just relax and stop going around all over the place, right? So and once I have this kind of episode, I'll really clear out the next few days. I'll do very little work. I'll tell everyone who I was supposed to meet, if I was supposed to meet them, that I can't anymore, that I'm not feeling well. And I'll take a lot of self-care routines. So I'll take care of myself. I'll do a lot of, self massages, or I'll go for a massage, and I'll eat a lot of good foods, and I'll just take like extremely good care of myself as if I'm taking care of a sick patient, right? And then eventually I'll be like, all right, cool, I'm back again and I can go out again, right? Now, of course, I obviously am more extroverted than a lot of INFJs out there, a lot of introverts out there. I am, I think, at a higher end of the spectrum. I'm an ambivert, of course, but I'm also more extroverted because I think I'm older. That helps a little bit. And I know what my limits are, so that obviously helps a little bit. But also, I think I'm more extroverted because I've been training myself to be an extrovert for so long. And so I think my limits are much higher than a lot of other introverts might be, right? So I know I do a lot of different things. People are like, what? I thought you were an introvert. And so people don't understand that I think I'm at a different level than them, right? So that's the thing I want to really mention to you guys, is that, you might see posts online from your friends of them going here and there, doing this and that. And you'll be like, well, why can't I do that? Why do I get tired so easily? Or why do I get stressed out after such little stimulation, right? And that's what I want to mention to you guys, is that every single person and every single introvert actually even is different from each other, right? I'm a completely different introvert from my introverted friends who need a lot more time and space on their own. And I'm very different, obviously, from my extroverted friends who don't need any time or space alone, right? So don't, of course, compare yourself to others. And therefore, it's very important for us to observe ourselves and really learn about ourselves. When do you get overstimulated? What overstimulates you? Which people overstimulate you? There are some people that I can hang out with for days and I am totally fine. Other people I'll hang out with for a couple of hours and I need a week off, right? And so, observe that. It doesn't necessarily mean you to kick those people out, but just know that if you're going to hang out with them, you're going to need time off from the world, okay? So that's just an observation. That's just a note that you have to take for yourself. Again, events. What events are fine with you? What events are not fine with you? What people, what situations are fine with you? And also, what happens in your body, in your mind, in your psyche when you're going to, or when you're about to get overstimulated, right? Because there's literally we're like a bucket, right? Think of it as a bucket. And you're little by little, you're getting overstimulated, and the bucket is getting to a point where you're going to be overfilled, and it's going to spill out, and all of your emotions and all of your anger and aggravation is going to spill out. So you're going to start being rude to people. You're going to start yelling at people. You're going to start being cold to people and just not being yourself, right? And so obviously you want to watch yourself, watch that bucket so it doesn't overfill, right? You want to watch yourself so that you get to a point which is like 10% below the overfill line, right? Over the thing. So you're able to stay below that line. And as soon as you get to that 10% line, you leave, right? That's your thing. That's what you have to do as an INFJ, as an introvert, is that you have to watch yourself, watch that bucket, and watch when it's about to hit that 10% line. So don't let yourself get to that overfill line, right? Don't let yourself get to that point where you're going to be overfilled, because then you're going to really hate yourself, because you're going to do things like be cold to people or rude to people or get angry at people, and you're going to hate yourself for that. So you don't want that, right? I know, I've been there. So I always leave at the 10% line, right? I know I'm like, oh my God, this is so much fun. I want to stay longer, but I can feel myself getting overstimulated. I'm like, all right, I have to leave, right? And people will invite me after some of these classes that I go to go to a jam, to like a a music thing or for dinner or things like that, and I know that I'm already at my 10% line, and even though I really want to go because I want to eat with them or hang out with them, I know that I shouldn't. Yeah, I really need to go home and recharge myself and then recharge for another day. You can go out tomorrow with them, or you can go out some other time with them, but just be really careful not to get to that overfill point, right? And so that's one of the things I really want to mention here in terms of overstimulation. Please watch yourself, right? That's the only way I think we can really get over this. Now, of course, a couple of things I would mention is that caffeine for me is terrible because it allows me to get over that overfill, to get beyond that 10% line, to get to the overfill line. And I don't realize that I'm getting to that point because caffeine is in my system and I'm like, So caffeine is not good for me. Yeah, I don't like caffeine, that's why. Because I know that I can overextend myself and then really burn out and crash. And I don't want to get to that point. So watch yourself. What are some chemicals that are not good for you, right? What is some stimulation that's really not good for you? And so really take notes on all of this because you are running an experiment on your life and you have to watch yourself. If you don't know yourself, no one really is going to care about it, right? So if you get overstimulated, no one really gives a shit because they don't understand that. So you have to watch yourself. Okay, I hope this makes sense. I hope I was able to explain myself to you guys. Again, if you guys have any questions, please put them in the comments below and I will create a video on it in the future. And if you guys are interested in supporting me further, you can do that by going to my Patreon site. The link is in the description below. And I shall see you guys the next time around. Bye for now.